All right, so video number 2 is what are we going to do with our a, our b, and our c? So once we get to ax squared plus bx plus c, and we identify what those terms are, where do we go? So quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And if that seems like a lot and it's complicated, we'll write this down in your notes because, again, all assessments, as always, are open notes. So keep track of this, something that we're going to be using quite a bit. And again, a couple things to point out here. Don't forget about that negative in front of the b. A second thing, we have both the plus and the minus term, so we're going to have two answers here. And another thing, that is a negative sign there in front of that 4. So again, be careful with those things. Those are the very common mistakes that we see time and time again. But let's go ahead and let's use this. Here's an equation. Just like we practiced, let's get a, b, and c. And then now let's take these things and let's plug them into the quadratic formula. A trick to help is to put parentheses where each of your a, b, and c terms are. I do this all the time. That way I don't lose any negative signs, things like that. And I write the letters really small underneath. That way I know what goes where. I also like to color code. I think that helps. That way I don't forget, okay, there's green, that's green. We'll put B for blue, that's blue, that's blue. And then maybe C can be yellow. Put the C in there. So if we do that, again, it decreases the probability of copying something in wrong. Again, you're probably not going to make a mistake with the multiplication here. It'll probably come if we're, for example, not putting the right number or not the right sign inside. So blues are 3, greens are 1, and then yellows are 2. So now that we have all this, it just turns into a order of operations or PEMDAS question. So negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared is 9, minus 4 times 1 times 2, so minus 8. All over 2 times 1, or 2. So now keep going one step at a time. Negative 3 plus or minus 9 minus 8 is 1, all over 2. And then now we get into the situation where we got to simplify that root. So negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 1 is actually just 1, all over 2. And here in this last step is a very specific step that I want you to do, and this will help you to keep things organized. Plus and minus. So this is actually two answers, like I said before. It's 3 plus 1 over 2, and it's 3 minus 1 over 2. Now that symbol saves us a lot of time, otherwise we'd have to write the quadratic formula twice. We'd have to do it all 2 times over, but instead we can just write this last step twice and make sure, again, we're keeping track of our numbers here. So we'll end up with negative 2 over 2 on one side, or just negative 1. And then on the other side, we'll end up with 2 over 2, or in this case, just positive 1. And again, carefully going through, making sure that we're not forgetting any of our signs, anything like that. And as long as we've done that, we are in excellent shape here to go through and to solve. All right, so again, quick check of our math, make sure we didn't lose anything. Oh, looks like we did lose something. So negative 3 is that first term. So that's what's going to be our mistake here, and that's why it's always good to go through and to check. So that actually last term there, again, that's why we do this, is going to be a negative 4. That'll get us to a negative 2. Excellent. All right, so again, one more time checking through here. We first identified what a, b, and c are. We then plugged them in to the quadratic formula. And then after that, we did our PEMDAS, our order of operations. And then we worked ourselves all the way down using PEMDAS until we got into our plus and minus answers. Then I made a mistake with my negative sign. And again, a good tip there. I was testing you all. And once we have our plus and minus answers we go through, we can fully solve and get our x equals terms, our x-intercepts. All right, so if we have done that, we are in good shape for the quadratic formula. And again, follow those steps, you'll be in good shape. Be careful with negatives. I made that mistake. It happens. And again, if you double check, you'll make sure you get it before it turns into something that takes away credit. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. As always, questions, reach out.